Hi, my name is Roger. Welcome to the program Zentangle Art. Here you'll see me holding an example of Zentangle Art. You can see all these intricate images. They are done on what are called tiles. Each tile is 3.5 by 3.5 inches. That's how they are traditionally done. Now we're going to take a close-up look at this in a little while. But first, let me tell you about Zentangle Art, a little bit of the background. Zentangle Art, it was invented by Maria Thomas and Rick Roberts. And you can find out more about them and more about Zentangle at Zentangle.com. Now, Zentangle Art is said to have a calming effect on the mind, easing anxiety and promoting relaxation. It's a nice way to draw shapes into patterns, and it's very soothing. Zen, I'll tell you, is a meditative state of calm. Tangle is a mass of intertwining parts. So when we put the words Zentangle together, we basically have something that means drawing intertwining patterns to create a sense of calm. Think of it as a meditative form of doodling. So what we're going to do, we're going to take a close-up look at some examples of Zentangle Art, and then we're going to try drawing some Zentangle Art. Now, when we do this, you can follow along with me, or you can kind of veer off from what I'm doing and explore and create on your own. Zentangle Art should be free form. You just want to go with what inspires you and see what comes out of the drawing. So with that said, let's move on. So these are just some basic examples of Zentangle. Here's 4 tiles, and this is very simple. We see straight lines that form squares and circles in the squares and a dot or several dots. And they just are put together to repeat a pattern. Here the patterns get a little more complex, but again we see curved lines, and here even these what look like petals are just curved lines. We have dots here and straight lines that form triangles. This is very dynamic, very vivid. Again, we can just see repeating patterns, and it's all straight lines and curved lines that form these patterns. This last one is very detailed, and in it we could see circles and spirals and straight lines, dots, and it just forms a very, very mesmerizing picture. Now, I'm going to get started on my own Zentangle art project, and before I do, I'm going to show you some of the patterns and lines that are used for basic Zentangle. For our Zentangle art program today, you will need a white piece of paper and a pen. A ruler and scissors are optional. With that said, let's move on. All right, let's get started making our own Zentangle piece of artwork. Now, first of all, I'm going to draw a box. You don't need to use a ruler, but I'm going to in this case. And Zentangle art is traditionally done on small square pieces of paper called tiles. But honestly, you can do Zentangle art any size you want on any kind of paper. But here I am going to do a tile. This tile is a bit larger, so you have a better view of what I'm doing. And again, you don't need to use a ruler. You can just always do it freehand. Okay, so there we go. Now, why don't you start with me by drawing up here at the top of your paper a small circle, a dot. Not a circle, but a dot. And then, after that, draw a circle. Now, how about a half circle? And then we're going to draw a squiggle that looks like a letter S, then a straight line, And last, a swirl, like a spiral. Okay, now, if you can draw these 6 shapes, you can do Zentangle Art. Think of these as the building blocks to Zentangle Art. Any kind of Zentangle artwork you see will have these 6 shapes. Essentially, it's a fun way to take these shapes and turn them into cool patterns. All right? Now, let's get started here. I think I'm going to start with the letter S, and I'm going to use it to divide the tile. All right, there we go. Now, what should I do next? How about a half circle? I'm going to take some half circles and just go all along this side of our curve, our letter S curve. It almost looks like the back of a dinosaur. All right. And from here, let's see. Oh, maybe I'll color a few of these in. Zentangle Art is traditionally black and white, but hey, you can use colored pencils or crayons if you want. The only limit is your imagination. I'm going to color a few of these in here. All right. There we go. So I used a half circle and a letter S, and maybe I'll put some dots in here. Again, I'm just using the same 6 shapes. Sometimes now these shapes, you can make them really long or scrunch them so they're really small, but it's going to be the same 6 shapes. So, Zentangle Art can go quickly, but some can take a really long time, so I want to pause here and show you one I already completed. Here it is, and you can see all the details. There's a lot going on here. We've got straight lines and dots, spirals, circles, half circles. They're all in here. So, and I cut this out when I was done. And I may cut this one out too. So there we go. This is a completed one. Now, let's switch it up a bit. I'm going to take another one here. I'll do a couple for you, okay? We're going to go through a lot of these, and I want you to feel free to explore and create on your own as we go along. So you can do whatever you want, or you can follow me. I'm going to draw a half circle here, and a dot in the middle. Some half circles coming out here. I'll put a few more in there. Then I think I'm going to put some half circles here and slowly go around, going further out each time. And so this will start to look, well, to me it looks like a flower. There we go. And maybe I'll draw another half circle here, and another, and another. And again, you can veer off and do anything you like, or just follow along with me. I'll fill this with circles. Circles can be any size. Like I said, some can be small, some can be large. Maybe I'll even put some circles inside. So it almost looks like a little face. And maybe here I'll do some letter S's. Now I'll finish this one later. I'm going to work more on this one later. And I'm going to move on and show you another example of how to proceed with Zentangle Art. I think this one I'm going to do a lot of straight lines. Maybe I'll put some curves in later on. I'll start with the straight line. I think I'll do another one down here. And then I'll go this way. And you don't have to use a ruler again. It's totally up to you. So this is just going to be all kinds of crazy straight lines. And maybe I'll put dots where they all intersect. More dots, more dots. And, you know, maybe I'll draw a circle around the dot. And how about some spirals? We haven't used a lot of spirals. So I'll put a spiral there, spiral here. Oh, what else can we do? Another circle. All right, and you know what? I'm going to work more on this one later as well. And maybe I'll cut this out and I'll take all 4 of the ones I'm working on when I'm done and glue them onto one piece of paper to make one picture. Again, that's up to you. That's something you could also try doing. So that is a very simple introduction to Zentangle Art. Hey, thanks again for joining me. And here I'm going to take my cool patterns. I'm going to finish these, cut these out, and hopefully they'll look kind of like this. And maybe I will glue them together on a piece of paper, as I mentioned earlier. And you can try the same. Again, thank you for joining me, and I hope to see you again for another program really soon.